Look at your hand. Go on, look at it. Now ask yourself a question nobody ever taught you to ask. Why does it exist? Not how it works. We know how it works nerves, blood, bone. I mean, why is there a hand there at all instead of just nothing? And before you answer too quickly, I want you to know that nobody on this planet, not me, not the smartest physicist you've ever heard of, can answer that question. Not really. Not all the way down. And that's what we're going to talk about. People think science has this covered. They think somewhere in a university there's a guy in a lab coat who knows why there's a universe instead of no universe. There isn't. Science is fantastically good at telling you how things behave once they exist. Drop a ball, it falls. We've got that nailed beautifully down to the decimal point. But ask why there's a ball, a floor, gravity, space for the ball to fall through, time for the falling to happen in, and the equations just go quiet. They assume all that stuff is already there. They start the story in the middle. So that's the whole game tonight. Not how does the universe work? We could do that one. That's a fun one too. But why is there a universe to work at all? And I promise you, by the time we're done, you're going to feel something shift in your head. Not an answer. Something better than an answer, actually. A much, much better question. Let's start with the word nothing, because I think you don't actually know what that word means. You think you do. You picture an empty room. No, wait. Empty space, like the dark between stars. Black, silent, cold, but there. That's not nothing. That's something with the lights off. Real nothing, and I mean philosophically, scientifically, real nothing, has no space. Not empty space. No space, period. No container for stuff to not be in. No time either, which means there's no before and no after, because before and after are time words, and we just said there's no time. No laws of physics, because laws need a universe to apply to. No potential for anything to happen, because potential is still something. Try to picture that. Go ahead, try. I'll wait. You can't, can you? Your brain keeps sneaking a little stage back in, a dark stage, an empty stage, but a stage. That's not a flaw in you. That's actually the first real clue we've got tonight. Every human brain that has ever tried to picture true nothing fails the same way, in the same spot. That tells you something deep. Maybe nothing isn't a simple, boring default state at all. Maybe it's the strangest, most unstable concept we own, harder to hold on to than any equation in physics. Now, here's where people think they've got a clever escape hatch. They say, but modern physics solved this. Quantum mechanics lets universes pop out of nothing. Vacuum fluctuations, baby. The math allows it. And I used to hear that and think, oh, terrific, mystery solved, let's all go home. Except, wait a second, what is this quantum vacuum they're talking about? Is it nothing? It is not nothing. A quantum vacuum is dripping with stuff. It's got quantum fields stretched across it like a skin. It obeys the rules of quantum mechanics, actual rules, actual mathematics, actual structure. It has energy bubbling in it, particles flickering in and out for fantastically short moments. That is an enormously rich something dressed up in a costume that says nothing on the label. Picture a magician, and I love magicians, I really do. I used to do magic tricks myself. Picture a magician pulling a rabbit out of an empty hat. Look, something from nothing. Big applause. But now walk around behind the curtain. There's a trap door. There's a hidden compartment. There's a guy backstage feeding rabbits through a tube. The hat was never empty in the way you needed it to be empty for the trick to mean what you wanted it to mean. That's exactly what's happening when physicists say the universe came from quote-unquote nothing via quantum fluctuations. The quantum vacuum is the hat with the trap door. It's not nothing. It's a very particular something, governed by very particular laws, and those laws had to already exist for the trick to work. So you haven't explained why there's something instead of nothing. You've explained how one something turns into a different something. You move the mystery into the next room and put a fresh coat of paint on the door. Now, say I'm wrong. Say somehow, someday, somebody finds an actual way to get a universe from true, capital N, nothing. No laws, no fields, no potential, the real deal. Fine, suppose that. You'd still have a second question waiting for you, and this one's even nastier. Why this universe? Why these laws? Because here's the thing that should keep you up at night. The rules of our universe are tuned like a watch. The strength of gravity. Change it just a little, stars don't form right. And if stars don't form right, no heavy elements, no carbon, no chemistry, no you. The mass of the electron. Nudge it, and atoms stop holding together the way they do. Chemistry collapses, no molecules worth the name. The rate the universe is expanding. Too fast, matter never clumps into galaxies. Too slow, it all collapses back into a point before life gets a chance to start. Imagine a control room. I want you to really see this. A vast room full of dials. One labeled gravity, one labeled electron mass, one labeled expansion rate, dozens of them, and every single one is set with insane precision to exactly the value that allows atoms, stars, planets, chemistry, biology, you sitting there watching this video. Now reach out and nudge just one dial, just slightly. The lights flicker. The whole room, gone. No universe capable of producing anything that could even ask why. So it's not enough to ask why something instead of nothing. We have to ask why this exquisitely, suspiciously specific something instead of any of the infinite other somethings that wouldn't have worked at all. And look, I know what some of you are thinking right now because I've had this conversation 100 times. You're thinking, well, Feynman, isn't this just where God comes in? Or maybe you're thinking the opposite. Isn't this where the multiverse comes in or where mathematics itself comes in? And I want to take both of those seriously because they deserve it. But I also want to show you something a little uncomfortable about both of them. If you say God created the universe, fine, but now I ask you, why does God exist instead of nothing? You haven't gotten rid of the mystery, you've just renamed it and given it a beard. The question, why is there something instead of nothing, doesn't go away, it just moves up one level to why is there a God instead of no God? Same hole, nicer wallpaper. And if you say mathematics is necessarily true, numbers and logic just have to exist, and the universe is made of math, same problem, different costume. Why does mathematical truth get the special privilege of existing without anything to make it real? Why does 2 plus 2 equals 4 need to be backed by an actual universe at all, rather than just being true in the same kind of non-place that true nothing would be? Every explanation I've ever heard for why there's something instead of nothing, and I mean every single one, religious, scientific, philosophical, secretly sneaks something in at the start, a God who exists, a multiverse that exists, a set of physical laws that exist, a mathematical structure that exists. Nobody, and I mean nobody, has ever given me an explanation that starts from genuine zero everything nothing and ends with genuine something without quietly slipping something into their pocket on the way in. Picture a hallway, an impossible hallway, stretching out further than you can see, and every door you open just reveals another door, identical, locked the same way. You keep walking, keep opening, and you never ever reach a room marked the real first thing, no further questions. That's the structure of every existence explanation human beings have ever cooked up. It's doors all the way, and we have never found the wall. Now here's something I think is the most important thing I'll tell you tonight, and it's not really about the universe, it's about how we think. We have this terrible habit of confusing naming something with understanding it. I can hand you fantastic words: multiverse, singularity, wave function, quantum foam, necessary being, brute fact. These are great words. I love these words. But a word is a label on a box. It tells you what to call the box. It does not by itself tell you what's inside the box, or, and this is the part that matters tonight, why there's a box there in the first place. I want you to picture a wall of jars neatly lined up, each one with a beautiful little handwritten label: multiverse, singularity, God, necessary existence, lovely jars, lovely handwriting. Now I tip them over one by one and pour out what's inside. Empty. Every one of them, when you actually pour it out and look, is empty in exactly the spot where the real explanation was supposed to be. The label was doing all the work the explanation was supposed to do. And the history of physics, I've lived a good chunk of this history, is full of moments just like this, where we mistook a good, confident-sounding name for an actual, honest answer. This might be the biggest one we've got, the one we haven't cracked yet, maybe the one we never will. And I want to be honest with you about that because I think honesty is the whole point of doing science in the first place. If I don't know something, the right thing to do is to say, I don't know, clearly, out loud, instead of dressing up my ignorance in fancy Latin and hoping nobody checks. So here's where I actually land on all this, and I think it's better than an answer. I really do. The fact that nobody can tell you why there's something instead of nothing doesn't make existence some kind of sad, unsolved homework problem hanging over your head. It means something close to the opposite. It means you are an absurdly improbable arrangement of atoms. Atoms that, by some process nobody can fully explain, woke up, got curious, looked around, asked, why is any of this here? and then went and built telescopes and equations and entire careers trying to answer it. You are sitting inside the one mystery that has never once been solved by anyone, ever, and you get to notice that you're inside it. You get to wonder about it for the brief flicker of time you exist before you're gone and the wondering stops. That's not a small thing. That is, as far as I can tell, the single wildest privilege there is, rarer than any fact in any textbook, because it's not a fact at all. It's a feeling. The feeling of a universe that didn't have to exist, producing something that didn't have to exist, that's somehow capable of standing here in the dark, looking out and asking why. So picture it with me one last time. Your eye right now, reading these words. Pull back, past your face, past the room you're sitting in, out past the earth, past the sun, out past the whole spinning galaxy, out into the black, silent space between galaxies, further, further, until galaxies themselves are just specks of dust on a screen. And then everything goes dark, except one tiny point of light. That's you, still watching, still wondering why any of this is here at all. Nobody knows. I don't know. And I think that not knowing, held honestly, right out in the open, is more beautiful than any answer somebody could hand you on a platter. Hang on to the question. Don't let anyone talk you out of how strange it is.